Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home.
Before it goes boom, blah, how you like America now? Babylon the Great, so foul. Terror, full-blown terror, spreading like gossip for Gerardo Rivera. Terror, devil to step to the Israelite zone, with the old getting slaved with the scriptures, baby, it's on. We too strong to have a march like a pool, but I'd rather feel my sword to your guts. I'm nuts for the truth and the knowledge of the Bible, when fucking red devils for survival with your house shine. Oh, you forgot about Christ, you crook. Enslaved his holy people with the good book you took. Mercy, mercy, you was bloodthirsty. Now you wanna go to heaven first, see, but pardon me. While the angels and you call UFOs are beaming us up, you gon' get struck with the bomb.
Right to invade with the troops. America get ready to be bombed with the nukes and the skies. Right to invade with the troops. America get ready to be bombed with the nukes and the skies. Right to invade with the troops. America get ready to be bombed with the nukes and the skies.
And so, as we say goodbye to our dark friends and neighbors,
America get ready to be bombed with the fire and the sky. Right to invade with the troops. America get ready to be bombed with the fire and the sky. Right to invade with the troops. America get ready to be bombed with the fire and the sky. Right to invade with the troops. America get ready to be bombed with the fire and the sky. Fire and the sky.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. Welcome to another edition of The Hidden Truth, our live cable show here in Houston. We're the Hebrew Israelites, and our show is geared to teaching the people that are scattered through North, Central, and South America of Negroid and Indian descent. They're the true lost tribes of the nation of Israel. And if you don't know by now, we have local classes here in Houston. And this show is geared towards teaching our people and waking them up to the truth and knowledge of their nationality and who they are according to the Bible. And today's topic, we're going to go right into it today. Priest Tahawan, what are we going to be talking about today?
We're going to be examining the Quran and the Eastern religion of Islam.
Okay.
All right, and how that should affect Hebrew Israelites, if it should have any bearing on Hebrew Israelites in general,
Right.
or at all.
Right.
Right? We know we always teach who the 12 tribes of Israel are, the so-called Negroes, West Indians, Haitians, Dominicans,
Right.
all the way down to the so-called Mexicans. And this religion, the Islamic, or if you will call Muslim religion, they mask it under its name by saying, oh, it's total submission to, well, they say Allah,
Right.
or they say total submission to God. But when you go into the history of the certain beings and the deities, they've changed the names, but the deity is the same. Allah is a moon god that had 3 daughters.
Okay.
Right? You had these different types of influences that they masked in.
Right.
Now, we're just going to examine their own books.
Right.
All right, because like we always tell people, you don't have to go with us. The scriptures say it. When you read it in Jeremiah, right, chapter 16, 6 verse 16. He says, "Go into the ways and see,
Right.
and find what is the old way, right? Find what is the good path,
Right.
right? So he invites us to go ahead and try these other ways,
Right.
right? And many of our people have. We went into Islam deeply and all these different religions, Buddhism and whatnot. But the thing is he wanted us to find the good way. Right. And what we always tell people is, if you're going to go into those, make sure that the teachings and the people teaching are lining up with the book.
Right.
Obviously, men are going to make mistakes.
Right.
But if the teachings in general don't line up with what the book says,
Right.
for example, Christianity
Right.
says, "Come as you are, stay as you are."
Right.
But the Bible doesn't say that.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
basically, "Come as you are, now change."
Right.
Right. When you deal with Islam, they say that they have many different things, like you have to follow the Torah.
Right.
Well, that's interesting, because you let your people eat anything.
Right.
Nowhere in the Torah does it say to blow yourself up and you'll get 70 virgins.
Right.
The other problem is it doesn't say that in the Quran either.
Right.
You see that?
Exactly.
So we're going to kind of examine that and weigh it according to the scriptures.
And this is why it's important to really understand the Hebrew Israelites are not a religion.
Right.
We don't believe in religion. We don't believe in that. This is us coming back to our true identity and the customs and laws and commandments of the Most High.
Perfect.
Even when we come back to the spirituality part, it's simplified. It's simple. It's simple to, even being spiritual, put off the old ways. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
Put off, listen, whatever you learned in America or Babylon or Egypt, don't do that. You're going to do what I reminded you to do, right?
Exactly.
So I like how you started it out, because when you look at these so-called, these religions, you see their inconsistencies.
There you go.
And that's what we're going to be talking about today, showing you out of the Quran, it tells you to go back to the Bible.
Right. Tells
Right.
you to go follow the Israelites. And that's, again, what we teach is to show our people who they are, that all the other nations of the earth, including Islam, including the religions of the earth, are all set to get you back to being an Israelite.
Now I know why people, atheists and so-called people that trying to seek wisdom, why they veer from religions. Is because the religions are so inconsistent, and you're finding out that a lot of people that you talk to about their religion, like Christianity, like Islam, like Buddhism, they don't really know in depth what they're talking about.
Exactly.
It is what people say. They're following blindly.
Right.
They're not following, really knowing, wait a minute, it says this.
Right.
Because like you said, there's nowhere in the Quran that says blow yourself up.
Right.
But these are the things that, and we're not going to go into that part, but it's just show that our people that are dealing with this religion, that we got nothing to do with that. You are a Hebrew Israelite, and your identity, your nationality, and your spirituality goes back to your people. Leave that for the Arabs.
Exactly. And it's what we always teach. Religion comes from that Greek word religio, and the Latin word religare, which means to keep down, hold back, and restrain.
Right.
And so when we go into Islam, as a religion,
right,
we're finding out that the religion is actually even holding its own people back.
Right.
You see that? And you're gonna see that as you go through the scriptures, because now you have people of the Islamic faith that'll look down on the 12 tribes and say, "Oh, these people are exactly what the white man called them." Right.
Right.
They'll
right.
hiss, they'll wag their head. Right.
Yeah.
Why? Because they don't understand that these people are the people of the book.
Exactly.
Muhammad, that Allah was talking about all through the Quran.
Right. Right.
You see that? So the first scripture I want to go to, dealing with our people and how we get caught up in this religion, is actually a curse. And I want you to start at Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse 1.
Right.
And then we're going to go to Deuteronomy 28, verse 15. Just keep it basic. And we're going to go to Deuteronomy 1, verse 1.
Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel.
Unto the whole world?
Unto all Israel.
Now, here's where the scriptures differ from the Quran in that respect.
Right.
The scriptures were written to the Israelites only.
Right.
All right. Now, the Quran, it tells you to follow the Israelites. And
Right.
we'll go to those scriptures.
Right,
all
right.
But the scriptures were written to Israelites. So these are the words that Moses spake to all Israel. So what did he speak to them? Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and read verse 15.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Right, so he's speaking to the Israelites.
Right.
All these curses, if you don't obey and listen to the voice of the Lord your God, all these curses are going to come on you.
Yeah.
Now, let's see what curse Islam and that religion fits under. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 64.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 64.
Because it's important for us to know that this is a curse.
Right.
Living under Christianity and living under Islam, this is a curse. So these are not gods that our fathers worshipped,
Right.
and these are not gods that we are supposed to worship.
Customs, concepts.
Exactly.
Like you just said, it's not in here.
Right.
From Christianity, God loves everybody.
Right.
But he was killing all these nations in the name for Israel.
Right.
All you have to do is believe. If that was the case, then it would just say believe the end.
Right.
You have all these other things and laws and rules you have to abide by.
There you go.
So once again, it just shows the reality that we've been lied to.
Right.
We've been led into false customs.
Right.
And we follow these customs blindly, not even really researching.
Right.
And we practice this all the time in our school. We tell brothers and sisters, study to show thyself approved. Know that you know that you know. That way, years later down the road, you're not don't come to this epiphanies that, wait a minute, all I knew was wrong.
Right.
You know, that's why so many people go through that.
Right.
Because that means that you never really looked into it and you never really seen it for yourself.
Yeah. You just kind of blindly believed in a lot of lies.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing, is a lot of people are going to find out, especially as we go through these Quran scriptures,
Mm-hmm.
that, wow, I've been blindly following this faith that is telling me to deal with my nationality. That is not telling me to deal with a religion. It's telling me to go back and follow my religion, or follow my nationality, follow my people.
And when you talk about the Quran?
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
It's going to tell you to deal with the Israelites, that the prophethood and all these things, just like we read in the Bible,
Right.
belongs to Israel.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
So this is a curse on our people. What's that curse?
This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other.
Right.
And there thou shalt serve other gods.
So the Israelites, right, and when the sign comes up, you'll know exactly who we're talking about.
Right.
The Israelites were scattered into all four corners of the earth.
Right.
And in those lands, all right, in all these different lands, in Saudi Arabia and in the Middle East, Afghanistan,
Yeah.
however you want to call it, in all these different lands throughout the Middle East, throughout Asia, Europe, and these things, we ended up serving other gods.
Right.
All right. And what were the two main gods that we end up serving?
Which neither thou nor thy father have known.
Right. So we serve gods that we didn't know, and our fathers didn't know them either. All right. And what kind of gods were they?
Even wood and stone.
So wood representing that Christianity, that cross.
Yep.
Right. And stone, talking about that Kaaba stone.
Right.
That even the Quran commands its followers to go and worship. Now, how do you say in one sentence to follow the Torah, which says thou shalt not have any graven images to bow down and worship them?
Right.
And then in another part say, hey, go and worship the Kaaba stone in Mecca. This won't make sense. Now,
Right.
if your book contradicts itself, that's immediately going in the garbage.
Something's wrong.
Right.
Right.
That's immediately something you have to have a flag going on your head and say, you know what, I cannot follow this book.
Right.
It contradicts clearly. All right. And this is something you can verify throughout the Quran.
Right.
Because there's people that say, oh, the Bible contradicts itself, but when you read the Bible, it doesn't.
Right.
You see
Right.
that?
Right.
But when you read the Quran, it clearly contradicts itself.
Right.
Again, in saying follow the Torah, and then here go worship the Kaaba.
Which one is it? You want us to follow the Torah or worship? Because you
Right.
follow the Torah, it says don't worship the stone.
There you go.
Right.
Right. So our curse, the so-called Negroes, West Indians, especially the Negroes and the Mexicans,
Right.
they're heavily involved in this Islam. One of our curses is that we would serve this stone god, that Kaaba stone.
And like you said from the beginning, a lot of our brothers and sisters that are dealing with the Americanized Islam don't understand that it comes from the ancient Islam, which was the worship of these idols and stones and doctrines.
There you go.
You know, it didn't have nothing to do. It didn't have nothing to do with what they're doing now. You know, and even now you got Farrakhan. He's trying to engraft Christianity
Right.
in with Islam.
Right, right.
So you see him, he'll open up the Quran, and then he'll open up the Bible and try to speak from both.
Right, right.
You know, and that's confusion in itself. Which one do you believe?
Right. Exactly.
Because one is really terrorizing the other one. The scriptures terrorize and destroy the Quran in the sense of showing, wait a minute, we don't worship idols, we don't worship God, we don't, other gods, and we don't worship these men.
Right.
Because these men, first of all, those men in the Quran was nowhere in our book.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even with their history doesn't go back to this book. And when you look at it, we didn't worship Abraham. We didn't worship Jacob. We didn't worship the patriots.
Right.
You know, but see, this is how far it separates us from the Quran.
Yeah, and the saddest thing is, when you read about Christ, you read about Jesus Christ all through the Bible, right? Old Testament and New.
Right.
But when you get to the Quran, you don't really read about Muhammad.
Right.
All right. So this is their major prophet that you read nothing about except for maybe one time. All right?
Wow.
Way back in the back in chapter 47, you read about one time he's mentioned in his section. All right. But the Americanized versions you get online and things like that, they'll have Muhammad injected in brackets. So he injects his name all through the book, but in the original book, he's never there. Our Messiah, which even the Quran will tell you, our Messiah is mentioned all through the book.
Right.
You see that? So why would your book inject a person way later?
Right.
And, you know, there's many points I can hit on this.
Yeah,
but
and we're
I
gonna
want-
hit some.
Right. I want to deal with that fact that this is one of those curses. Nowhere in the Bible does it tell us to worship an image of stone.
Right.
Nowhere in the Bible, but in the Quran, you're told to go to Mecca to go worship the Kaaba. All right. We're going to go to, in the Quran, we're going to go to, this is chapter 32, and we're going to read verse 1 through 3.
Okay, all right, 32, 1 to 3. Allah am the best knower. The revelation of the book, there is no doubt in it, is from the Lord of the worlds.
Okay.
Okay. Verse 3, or do they say he has forged it? Nay.
So if people say, hey, you made that up, right? Then he's going to say no. Go ahead.
Nay. It is the truth from thy Lord that thou mayest warn a people to whom no warner has come.
Okay, right there. He said that you may warn a people to whom no warner has come.
Right.
Well, when we go to the Bible, right? I want you to go to Psalms 147, verse 19 and 20. What he's saying is you're going to be a prophet to the people to who never had a prophet. That's what a warner is.
Right.
Well, Israel had prophets. We always had prophets. Whenever you read that the Most High said this or God said unto so-and-so, right? The word of the Lord concerning Israel, right? It was Amos, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Jonah, all these different prophets. So who are these people to whom no warner has come that this book is written to, this Quran is written to?
Okay.
Read Psalms 147, verse 19 and 20.
He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel.
Right? So this book is clearly written to Israel.
Right.
All the prophets before were sent to Israel.
Right,
Okay?
right.
So we already had warners. This book is saying go to a people that have not had a warner. So obviously this book is not for Israelites. It's not for the so-called Negro. It's not for the so-called Mexican. See that?
Wow.
According to its own profession.
Right.
Right.
It says, thou mayest warn a people to whom no warner has come before thee, that they may walk upright.
Right, so that they may walk upright. Well, our people started out upright.
Right.
So who is this being written to? People who didn't walk upright. You see that? And again, you know, the falsehood in this and in the religion is going to be clear and evident. But we're just trying to see, should a so-called black man, should a so-called Mexican be following this book? Should they be following this religion? All right. So we found out that the book is not written to Israelites anyway.
Right.
Because we had warners.
We had prophets.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. Now we're going to go to 43, verse 1 through 3 also.
It says, in the name of Allah, the benefit of the merciful, benefit God.
Right. Beneficent.
Beneficent God, by the book that makes manifest.
Right.
Surely we have made it an Arabic
We
Quran.
made it a what?
Arabic Quran.
So was it written to people that were speaking Hebrew?
Arabic Quran, that's what it says here.
It wasn't written to people speaking English, Chinese, anything like that. It was written to Arabs. Okay, so here's where we have a problem. You so-called Negroes, you West Indians, you Haitians, Dominicans, Guatemalans, the Panamanians, Puerto Ricans, Cubans.
Right.
None of you are Arabic. All right, that is a nationality. The Quran is clearly telling you that when Allah gave it to whoever He gave it to them in Arabic. For what purpose? Read it again.
Surely we have made it an Arabic Quran that you may understand.
That you may understand. Well, if you don't speak Arabic, then who's it written to?
Wow.
For you to understand. You don't understand it if you don't speak Arabic.
Right.
All right. Now, if it's written to the Arabs, I want to go in this book, The Lost Tribes and Promised Lands.
Okay.
All right. If it's written to the Arabs, and you're a so-called Negro, sold into slavery, raised up here in America, your family was sold into slavery, do you want to follow a religion that is clearly, their book is written only to Arabs? It's not for you. We're going to go to page 55. All right. In this Lost Tribes and Promised Lands by Ronald Sanders. All right. And we're going to start right in the first paragraph. Slaves may not yet have been part of the Guinea trade when the Carthaginians passed it on to their successors. We do not know. But it is certain that slaves were among the commodities being obtained by the Arabs in Guinea.
Wow.
By the time Portuguese ships began to outflank them there in the 15th century. Indeed, it is possible to say that the Negro slavery in the modern Western world is an Arab legacy. All right? For though chattel slavery had continued to exist in the Christian countries of the Mediterranean, as in the Arab countries there, right down to Prince Henry's time and long after, it had vanished in Northern Europe. Black slavery had declined in them after the Roman period and was to be found only in the Muslim world until about the 13th century.
Wow.
So Arabs kept it going even when white people left us alone.
Dang.
They kept slavery going for us.
Right, and this is, once again, you hear a lot of Israelites saying it, that the Arabs and the Africans sold us into slavery to the so-called white man.
There you go.
And this is the historical evidence, Lost Tribes, Promised Land, and we know all through the scriptures it tells us.
Right. So, knowing this, that, okay, we just read the Quran professed that it was written to Arabs, to people who spoke Arabic.
Right.
And now we know that the Arabs are the ones that sold us into slavery. So do we as Negroes, do we as West Indians and Haitians, do we want to follow a religion that clearly our slave master is forced on us?
Right.
This is evident. Not like they say about Christianity, Christianity was given to you by the slave master. Actually, it wasn't.
Right.
When you go into the American Slave Code, it tells you it was outlawed for a slave master to treat a slave and teach a slave to read, write, or practice religion.
And how many stripes would you get just for reading the Bible? Reading any book.
Right.
But now
they
you
would
read the
fine
Bible?
$300. And that's for that time, for the
Right.
1600s.
Right.
So that's like getting a $2,000 fine now. So no slave master's touching that. They're not coming over and saying, hey, you should worship Jesus.
Yeah.
You see that?
Right.
Where at the same time, the Muslims clearly put their religion on us. All right. And that's what brought it to the so-called Negro today. That's what brought it to the West Indians and Haitians today. Now, our Mexican brothers are doing exactly what the scriptures have always said. They're following the tents of Judah.
Right.
All the other nations are following Judah, just like they did when Christ came. So why are they getting involved en masse with Islam?
Islam, right.
Well, because niggas are doing it.
Right.
See that?
Yeah, you're basically saying that, you got the Mexicans, the Guatemalans, Panamans, all the other 9.5 tribes on here, on this sign here. You see a lot of them trying to getting the Quran also and be Islam and worship this religion.
There you go.
It goes back, man. It's beautiful because it's showing that we got no parts of that. The Most High didn't want us to deal with that.
Exactly.
On top of all the other religions, and we need to do another one on Buddhism, Hinduism.
Oh, definitely.
And on these other ones as we go through. But yeah.
Right. Now, the next scripture I want to go to, we're going to go to the Bible now.
Okay.
And we just found out this was an Arabic religion.
Okay.
All right. We're going to go to Psalms chapter 96, verse 5. All right. So we found out this was an Arabic religion. It was given to Arabs who, at the time, just before it was laid down, they were walking around the Kaaba stone, this meteor that supposedly fell from heaven, and they were actually walking around there butt naked having orgies.
Right. They still, I was going to say, they're still doing that now. They probably are, but they still do that every year.
Yeah.
They walk around that big stone. It's surrounded by and we'll throw the image up there when we get this, but it's surrounded by gold casket, a square gold casket.
There you go.
And they bow to this,
There you go. And that's the thing is our scriptures expressly forbid us to worship anything under the heaven.
Right.
Right. And anything that's not the Most High, you can't worship that.
Right.
It's Exodus chapter 20, the big 10 commandments. Right. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Okay. Well, where do we get this other book coming around saying, oh yeah, follow the Torah, but worship this rock?
But let me ask you this: going into the Quran, does it say in there why to bow to this stone or why to give obeisance?
I gotta go back into that section.
Right.
I was mostly going in for different reasons, but the thing is when you find out the origins of the people that were there before Muhammad came,
right,
you find out that they were doing it because they actually worshiped the rock. They thought it was a god. All right. So they were honoring this rock, and they would have orgies and basically just like every other pagan religion.
Right.
Something's greater than me, I have to worship it. The sun's greater than
and
me.
somehow jizz has to come in between that.
Right, exactly.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
All right, so the thing is when you just like Muhammad's name is inserted into there. Mm-hmm. Right, in your modern editions, you'll see his name in brackets all over, littered all over the Quran. Mm-hmm. In the one you're holding, you hardly see his name. Every place where I found that the Quran, and we're gonna throw those pictures.
So what is this? This is not the Quran?
That's a Quran, yeah.
Okay.
That's one of the English translations.
Okay.
This translation is by Abdullah Yusuf Ali. The one you're holding is I forgot her name.
Maluna Muhammad Ali.
There you go. All right. So
like a
you
butterfly.
have different
Right.
different versions, just like they accuse us of having with the Bible.
Right.
Right. But these two versions between them only mention Muhammad's name one time.
Okay.
All right. So there's that problem.
Okay.
All right. But we're gonna go into the scriptures and just show. Before Muhammad got there and gave them this, they were worshiping this rock.
Mm-hmm.
Until this day, they kept that worship of this rock. All right. Now, what did the Most High say about the worship of the rocks?
Right.
This is Psalms chapter 96 and verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
For all the gods of the nations are idols.
See that? All the gods of the nations, talking about the nations outside of Israel,
Right.
they're idols. All right. They're not actual gods. They're idols.
Mm-hmm.
And we just read previous to that this was a curse for us to worship those things.
Right.
All right. So if we're in a cursed condition, right, we're going to worship rocks.
Mm-hmm.
If we're of the other nations, which we're not, we're going to worship rocks.
Right.
All right. So these are two strikes that you're taking as soon as you join this religion.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You're saying, okay, I'm cursed, and two, I'm one of the nations. I have nothing to do with Israel.
I'm not coming up with the bond of the covenant.
Right. I'm not God's chosen people.
Right.
Or Allah's chosen people, as we're going to read on. All right. So we're seeing that all the gods of the nations are idols. What else?
But the Lord made the heavens.
Right. But the Most High is the one that made the heavens. Yahweh is the one that made the heavens. All right. So we have a clear problem there. We're being told in one book to worship a rock. We're being told in another one, our book, that it's a curse to worship a rock.
Right.
Okay. We're going to go to 2 verse 47 in the Quran.
Uh-huh. What do you mean 2?
This is chapter 2 verse 47.
Okay. And that's obviously in the beginning, right?
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
The cow.
There you go.
Okay. 2.
There you go. Now, I want you to see something really big here. We're going to go to Romans chapter 3. Actually, you know what? It's Romans 9. Romans 9. And we have to understand these things about the scriptures, about any of these books, that we have to go in and see, do they line up with the Bible? As we read in Isaiah 8, verse 20, to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. So does the Quran speak according to the Bible? In some sections it does. It tells you follow the Torah.
Right.
Follow Christ. He's the Messiah. Right? But in other sections it tells you that it's okay to worship this rock.
Right. Contradictory.
Right. The Muhammad is the prophet of Allah. Right? That's their credo. Well, your religion's credo is Muhammad is the prophet of Allah, but the Quran doesn't say that.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
But we'll go into that. Go ahead.
Which one you want me to read? Oh.
He's going to read Romans chapter 9. We'll start at verse 1.
Romans chapter 9 and verse 1. I say the truth in Christ, I lie not.
Right.
My conscience also bearing me witness in the Holy Ghost, that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart.
And this is our issue while we're trying to bring this out to our people.
Right.
Is because we have this great sorrow and continual heaviness when we see our brothers and sisters wanting to worship this rock. And again, like you said, there's a difference. I always forget there's a difference between the Eastern Islam and the Western
The Americanized,
Islam. There you go. Here, it's about selling bean pies and wearing a nice suit and shaving all the hair off your face.
Right, right.
While holding a book that tells you to follow the Torah, which says don't shave all the hair off your face.
Right. But then even if you go back to the, these people in the East that celebrate, they don't do it that way.
Right, right.
Everything that comes to America is watered down.
There you go. And, if you have that clear division in your religion,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's superbly clear. There's little divisions here and there
Yeah.
on doctrine with the Israelites, but here you have people doing a whole different custom.
Right.
That originated the religion, whereas here you have the more watered down slave-minded version where I don't even read the book. most of these Negroes, man, they don't even read the book of the Quran.
Just like they do with the Bible. They don't even read the Bible.
There you go. It's the same as Christianity once it gets over here.
Yeah.
So I'm really attacking the source where in the Eastern religion more than I am this watered down fake knockoff version of everything, basically, because everything in America is a cheap knockoff of something that's going on in the East for thousands of years.
Right.
So there's no point even attacking that. It's just like fighting a child. All right.
You know what's beautiful you said that is that this is why we got to keep Paul said a pure religion.
There you go.
You know, having this knowledge and understanding that we got to separate it from this American mind and American mentality, because if not, us coming back to being the true believers, like it says in John 4, you're gonna be in this American mind state as opposed to the real the real version of the knowledge.
There you go.
You know?
There you go. Yeah, it's gonna completely watered down, man.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be in even more danger because you're still holding that book.
Right.
You know, you're still waving the book in the air that you don't read. And so you're professing that the things you're saying are in the book.
Right.
You see that? Read where you're at.
This is Romans chapter 9 and verse 3. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren.
Right, for my brethren. So Paul, he's talking about his brethren, right? Not just his spiritual brethren. People who believe like he do, but who?
My kinsmen according to the flesh.
My kinsmen according to the flesh. My family, my blood. Y'all see that? So he's talking about Israelites. Go ahead.
Verse 4. Who are Israelites.
There it is. Go ahead.
To whom pertaineth the adoption.
So who does the adoption pertain to? The fact that the Most High said, these are my people and you're going to be my sons and daughters. Who does that pertain to?
The Israelites.
Right. Go ahead.
And the glory.
And the glory. Go ahead.
And the covenants.
And the what?
And the covenants.
The covenants, the promises. Go ahead.
And the giving of the law.
And what?
The giving of the law.
So who gave the whole world the law?
The Israelites.
The Israelites.
Wow.
See that? Now, when I go to the Quran, it's going to echo this same thing. That's the amazing thing about it is the truth has to be mixed with a lie in order to bring you to hell. All right. When Satan gives you a lie, he doesn't just lie straight out to you.
Right.
No, he gives you a mix with the truth.
Right.
And that's what you have in the Quran. The Quran has a lot of truths in there, right? A lot of truths about who to follow, who to worship, right?
Well, most of it is when that book right there by Arthur Koestler, the two what is it?
This one
from Babylon to Timbuktu, where it tells you in there that Muhammad, and we'll throw the article up there, that Muhammad himself seen that the Israelites worship one God and believed in one God, and his people had all kind of gods.
There you go.
Am I jumping?
Oh no, that's exactly what I was looking for. Actually, I hadn't highlighted it.
Yeah, but it goes in there and tells you that they wanted to be like the Hebrews.
Right.
So what they did is they came down with the one God, Allah. But once again, this Allah of the Eastern Hemisphere and the Allah of what we have in America is different. See, they try to refer to this Allah over here, being a Muslim, as the God, the Most High, the Creator. And in the East, they know that this has to correlate with the Kaaba stone.
Right.
Allah, that's my power.
Right.
Right. So, and I don't know if you found it yet, but it's right in there, and it talks about that too. He actually brought that out.
Oh yeah. It's actually pretty much a chapter of
Yeah.
It starts with the birth. It's called The Birth of Islam, and it starts at page 44 and goes on through about page 51. All right. But one of the main points there says here it is. Muhammad. This is page 49. Muhammad tried to construct his religion as closely as he could.
There you go.
After the Jewish religion.
Right.
He favored the Jews by accepting many of their laws and traditions. You see that?
Yeah.
So he took a lot of the Torah, a lot of our tradition, and he put it in there.
Yeah.
Right? Then, again, he also injected his name in there. All right? It says when the Jews refused.
And when you say injected his name, he injected his name in the Quran.
into the Quran,
Because even in here, it's not written that much.
no, when I looked at it on the app, right, the Quran app, it's mentioned 264 times. When you go into the actual Quran, the hardcover book, once.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
All right. So it says when the Jews refused to be converted, he commanded his followers to stop turning to the holy city of Jerusalem in prayer, but rather to turn to the city of Mecca. He changed the Jewish Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement or fast day, which he had accepted for the month of Ramadan. See, he had accepted the Day of Atonement, but he called it Ramadan.
Yeah, this is how all nations, it says that we were the example to all the nations, that in everything we did and we do, they were supposed to look at us and say, wow, this is a wise and understanding people.
There you go.
So, it's kind of flattering, but we still stick with the realness. We stick with the realness, and the realness goes back to, remember, everything. When you even go back into Adam, everything came all the way down to the Hebrews.
There you go.
Even in the past, the Most High is like, I'm not going to choose anybody out of Mesopotamia.
Right.
From Adam's line and lineage, but only one man.
Right.
Abraham.
There you go.
Right? There was many people there.
Yeah.
But why he didn't choose all these other people? Because he wanted to keep his word pure and true.
Right.
And it came through Abraham.
Yeah. Even when you deal with, Abraham, he had his two sons, Ishmael and Isaac.
Yeah.
The Most High chose Isaac.
Yeah.
All right. When we read Galatians chapter 4,
there you go.
We find out cast the son of the bondwoman away.
Right.
It's Hagar, Ishmael's son, or Ishmael's mother. Right. Cast her away, but Isaac was the chosen.
Right.
And Isaac shall thy seed be called. So we look at these things and we say, okay, well, even if the Quran mentions Ishmael as a prophet in any part,
right,
which it hardly does, Ishmael was cast away.
Right.
Move him out of the way for Isaac. All right. I'm going to read down a little bit. It says, in order to win the pagans into the church, Christianity adopted many barbaric customs and traditions. Likewise, Muhammad, to gain the loyalty of the pagan Arabs, adopted many of their beloved customs. The Kaaba stone, an idol, was to receive high regard in the new religion. Also, the pagan temple at Mecca was to remain as a holy site. You see that? So all this came from paganism, but he engrafted it into this book.
Right.
You see that? All right. Now we're gonna go back into the Quran.
You want me to read that 47?
There you go.
This is section 2, the cow, section 6, verse 47. It says here, O children of Israel, call to mind my favor, which I bestowed on you, and that I made you excel the nations.
There you go. So the Quran is telling you, I called the children of Israel, and they excel the nations. Now, isn't that something? Because when we go to Deuteronomy, right? He said he called us above all nations of the earth, right? Is it 7-6?
Yes, sir.
All right, read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
Once again, Deuteronomy 1 verse 1. These are the words that Moses spoke to all Israel. All right, so now we're in 7 verse 6. What did he say?
For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
Right, you Israelites are a holy people unto the Lord your God. Go ahead.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself.
Right.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
That's our place. That's an Israelite's place, above all people that are on the face of the earth, or in the words of the Quran, to excel all the people on the face, excel all the nations.
Wow.
Right. See that? So what should a person of either faith, who should they be following? Who does the service of God belong to?
Right.
According to the Bible, it belongs to the Israelites.
Right, and it belonged to us because we were going to be the true believers and the ones that carry out the true laws and commandments and customs of the Most High.
Right.
When you go back to Isaiah 2, talking about this, we talk about this a lot, but even in the future, it tells us that that same thing is going to happen. Isaiah 2:2, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and they shall be exalted above the hills, and the nations shall flow unto it, and many people shall go and say, Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord and the house of the God of Jacob.
Right.
And he will teach us his ways.
There you go.
You know, so once again, even you know, it was supposed to be kept with the chosen.
Right.
And all the discrepancies is going to be cleared up, and it's still going to be kept with the chosen.
There you go. Now,
Right.
you know, just another one to go with that.
Yeah.
We pull this a lot in classes,
Yeah.
but Zechariah 8 and verse 23.
Right.
And we're going to find out, should we be going after the Arab religion?
Right.
Should
Right.
we be going after Arabic custom?
Zechariah 8, verse 23.
Right, and if you can give me Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 2, I think it is.
It says, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold out of all the languages of the nations,
Right?
even shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew.
Oh, wait a minute. So among all the nations' languages that there are they going to go to the Arabic Quran?
That is a Jew.
Oh, they're going to go to a Hebrew that is a Jew.
Uh-huh.
He's going to speak Hebrew. All right?
Yeah, we will go with you, for we have heard that your God is with you.
There you go. See
Right,
that?
yeah.
We know that God is with you. We know that your God is with you.
Right.
The other nations, they keep calling on Allah, and the only
Right.
thing He's taught them to do is continue slavery.
Yeah,
all
wow.
up until this day. See that?
Yeah.
And you know, this is by their own profession. I typed it in on YouTube earlier, or on the internet earlier, just trying to find a picture of you know, a man showing that the so-called Negroes are the Israelites, right? That was of the Islamic faith, and right there is a picture of one that looks like an old white man, but he's an imam. He's got his turban on and everything, and he's basically saying that, you know, slavery is issued by Islam. It's actually their custom.
Wow.
So why would we want to follow this when we are the victims of that custom?
Right.
You see that?
Exactly.
Makes no sense.
Right, right.
But read that Jeremiah chapter 10, and we're going to go back to the Quran again, just in case they think I took that 2 verse 47 out of context. We're going to go to 2 verse 122.
2 verse 120. Okay.
You said Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse
Start at verse 1.
10 and verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel.
All right, so you Israelites, you so-called Negroes, West Indians, and Haitians, not the whole world, but you so-called Negroes, West Indians, Haitians, Dominicans, all the way down to the so-called Mexicans. You scattered through North, Central, and South America and all over the world of so-called Negroid or Indian descent. What did he say to them?
Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen.
Don't learn the way of the nations outside of Israel, including the Arabs, including the white man, including the whatever other
Right.
nation, the Chinese, whatever they bring down that is contrary to the Bible. Don't learn those ways. All right. Now, what does the Quran say once again in 2 verse 122?
It says, O children of Israel, call to mind my favor, which I have bestowed on you, and that I made you excel the nations.
So once again, 2 times, just in one chapter, he's saying that the Israelites are made to excel the nations. So there's nothing, whether you're in Islam or in a Hebrew Israelite or just some nigga on the street, you should be following the Hebrew Israelites. Whichever book you've chosen to follow is going to tell you to follow the Hebrew Israelites. All right? So that should be clear as day right there. All right?
Wow.
We're told in the Bible, don't learn the way of the heathen. So if you're a Christian, so-called Negro, if you're a Christian, so-called Mexican,
Yeah.
right? Don't learn the way of the heathen.
Right,
Stop
right.
learning their ways.
Yeah.
If you're a Muslim, then your book tells you to follow the Israelites. They excel the nations.
Right.
You have no escape from following the Israelites.
You know, I was just looking in here, man. It's so contradictory. It's like, I don't even know how people. Well, you see why in that belief, it's so contradictory. Is 1 minute God, you know, Allah is peace, and then the other one is like, no, blow everybody up and kill everybody.
There you go.
You know, and you know, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's just, you know, again, if the religion doesn't follow its own book, then don't follow the religion. Mm-hmm. If the book doesn't follow itself,
Right.
then you
That's
can't
even
follow
more.
that book.
See, they can't do that to the Bible, and that's the thing. You have that same thing with Christianity, but we found out that no, in the book it doesn't coincide with what they're saying.
There you go.
It's actually different from what they're saying.
Right. So we're not advocating Christianity.
Right. Oh, definitely not that.
Right. We're not advocating any religion.
Right.
That's the thing. We want our people to come back to the knowledge of who they are in the Most High in Christ.
Right.
All right. And the Quran wants that too.
And that means that when you read the Bible and the Most High in Christ, because once again you have people that made those two one, you know, God and Christ religion.
Right, right.
No, it ain't got nothing to do with that. And that's where we got to keep destroying that ideal of Christianity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what? We're going to go again in the Quran.
Okay.
3 verse 45. So
Okay.
Chapter 3 verse 45. And we're just going to establish, you know, obviously the Bible is going to tell us we need to follow Christ. In order, he's the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by him.
Right, right. But you know, it's like we said earlier, and like we always say, Isaiah 8 verse 20. Isaiah 8 verse 20. It says, if they speak not according to this law and testimony, is no light in them. So the reason why we're showing the Quran, because we usually don't do this.
Right, right.
All right. The reason why we're showing is to show our brothers and sisters that are lost in the Quran.
Right.
That in the Quran it tells you about the children of Israel.
Right, right.
So we know what trumps all this is the word of the Most High.
There you go.
So, but it's good to go in here to show them, like, you know, listen. First of all, you're claiming to be this, but you're so gun ho, but yet you're not understanding what you're reading in your own book.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So what is it? Part 3.
Yeah, verse 45.
It says, okay, when the angel said, O Mary, surely Allah gives thee good news with a word from him of one whose name is the Messiah.
Okay, so Mary, the child of Mary,
Yeah.
the Quran is professing, is the Messiah.
Okay.
Okay, so your book, you know, if you're going Islam versus Hebrew Israelites,
Yeah.
your book says that he's the Messiah.
Right.
Well, who's he the Messiah to?
Wow.
Is he the Messiah to the entire world? Is he the Messiah to the Arabs? Was he the Messiah to anybody of the Muslim faith? Well, let's go to verse 49 and see.
In here? Mm-hmm. And he will teach him the book and the wisdom and the Torah.
The what?
And the Torah.
Okay, all right. So Christ had the Torah. He
And the
did
gospel.
Torah. And the gospel, right? Go ahead.
And the Torah and the gospel, and make him a messenger to the children of Israel.
Whoa. So help me out here. Okay, all through your book, it says for you to follow a Messiah, right?
Right.
What is a Messiah? He's a savior. He's a person that's going to save you. Well, help me out then. If I want to get saved, what book should I be following then?
Right.
Who should I be following? What
Book of
people should I
wisdom
be
and the
following?
Torah and the gospel.
There you go.
E.
And he said he's going to be that Messiah.
I wonder when they read that, what the heck do they say?
I don't know if they do. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
they don't. Like, they can't, because now you're separating and understanding. No, Christ didn't have nothing to do with y'all.
There you go.
You know, and then he just disannulled your book.
There you go.
In your book, how does that work? Right.
Right. And, you know, that's the thing is, you know, we went through the scriptures, we went through the Bible, you know, showing that the giving of the law, the service of God, pertains to the Israelites. All the other nations are going to come and they're going to grab the hold of the skirt of him that's a Jew and say, we're going to follow you because we have seen that God is with you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't want nothing to do with that. That's the slave master's religion. So let me jump into Islam.
The slave master's religion.
The slave seller's religion.
Right.
Right? The slave dealer's religion.
Right.
Well, what's he going to tell you? You
Wow.
better get back in the Bible. You better go hang out with the Jews.
Right.
Y'all see that?
Right.
So there's no way out if you're a so-called Negro and you trying to parse it out based off of religion. You know, obviously the only place for you to run, like many of our wayward brothers have, is go from Islam to Kemet. Right? And we destroyed that already.
Yeah.
We already destroyed that on one video. But there's nowhere to run now. All your religions come back to us Hebrews.
Yeah.
Including this major one, Islam. All right? So we found out there that they're to follow the Israelites. So we found out there that they're to follow the Messiah.
Right.
Right? And he's the Messiah to Israel.
Right.
So who would I rather be with? Should I be with Ishmael, who has nothing to do with Israel?
Right.
Him and his lineage had nothing to do with Israel.
Right.
When you deal with Isaac's lineage, though, They're the fathers of the Israelites.
Right.
So which one should I be following? Y'all see that?
All right.
Give me Galatians 4:26 real quick.
Yeah. We getting more in here?
Yeah, we're going to get one more in there. It's gonna
Okay.
be actually two more in there.
Okay, where we at so I can look for it now?
It'll be 29, verse 27.
Oh, chapter 29.
There you go.
Okay.
Read.
This is Galatians chapter 4 and verse 26. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free.
Right. So when you read chapter 20, chapter 4, you're going to find out that the Bible tells us to not go with the child of the slave woman, of the bondwoman, who was Ishmael. All right. So no matter what you read in the Quran, all right, about them trying to inject Ishmael's name, because I found one version where Ishmael was named among the prophets, and then another one where he's not mentioned in the same verse. All right. But that's here nor there. If you're told to follow Ishmael, you're going off, because the Bible tells you, and the Quran tells you, that Israel is the chosen seed above all the other nations. All right. Read that one more time.
But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all.
There you go. Jerusalem is the mother of us all. Not Mecca, not the Kaaba. Jerusalem is the mother of us all. All right. So we're going to go to, did you find that in the Quran?
Yeah.
All right. So it's 29 verse 27.
And we granted him Isaac and Jacob. And
So they're talking about Abraham. Allah, for some reason, speaks in the plural as we instead of himself. And
Okay.
that's more than likely because when you read into his origin, he's a man with 3 daughters, and he's a moon god with 3 goddesses under him. All right.
Wow.
But more than likely, that's what he's talking about when he says we. That's all I'm trying to clear up. So it says, we granted him Isaac.
right, we granted him Isaac and Jacob and ordained proper prophethood and the book among his seed.
So they gave him Isaac. They didn't mention Ishmael. They gave him Jacob, the son of Isaac.
Wow.
And it said they granted him what?
Prophethood.
Prophethood. They granted that to Jacob.
Wow.
Well, if you
So
believe-
wait a minute. Wait a minute. The Quran is telling you that Allah granted Jacob prophethood.
there you go.
So their Allah, wow,
Not Ishmael.
not Ishmael,
Right. Not
Jacob and
right.
Isaac.
There you go. Not
Wow,
the
that's-
sons of Ishmael.
They would at least cross that one out and put Ishmael in
You
there,
would think
right?
so. You would think so. And that's important to note because Muhammad, Muhammad, the prophet of Allah,
Right.
cannot now be a prophet according to their own book
Wow.
because
He's not
he's not of the
of
tribe.
Abraham or Isaac.
There you go.
Jacob.
Or Jacob.
Right. It says, and the book among his seed, and we gave him his reward in this world, and in the hereafter we will surely be among the righteous.
There you go. So it's also
deep.
calling us the righteous.
It's deep because it's like, how could you read your own book and not see this?
Right. You
Man.
have to have the blinders on, or you have to be being guided away from those scriptures.
Yeah, like
Christianity.
Christianity.
Right.
Like Christianity. They don't want to show you those scriptures.
Right. Don't eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. That's the Old
Right,
Testament.
right.
Well, if your leader's doing that,
Yeah.
well, then you're never going to find that.
Yeah.
See that? And we're going to do another one in chapter 4. And we're going to go to verse 163. And again, because, people say, oh, you're taking that out of context. You just found one verse where it says that. No, I
we
found
just
a
keep
few.
We keep going through it.
Right, it's killing its own self. It's got the gun to its own head, and it's pulling the trigger repeatedly.
4 verse what?
4 verse 163.
Okay. Surely we have received to thee as we have revealed to Noah
They revealed it to Noah, right?
and the prophets after him.
Okay,
And we revealed it to Abraham
right,
and Ishmael
right. So they
got Ishmael in here.
Ishmael, right? Right.
and Isaac and Jacob
Right,
and the tribes.
So their thing was revealed to all these people, right? But it said, and to Jacob and his tribes. Y'all see that? So it wasn't Ishmael and his tribes. Ishmael had tribes.
Right.
He had 12 tribes.
right.
But it wasn't revealed to Ishmael and his tribes. It was revealed to Ishmael. How? By his father, Abraham.
Ooh.
Did Ishmael pass it down? No. That's why hundreds of years later, they're walking around the cobblestone butt naked having orgies.
Wow.
You see that?
Wow.
That's why hundreds of years later, they're taking the children of Israel, selling them into slavery. Y'all see
Dang.
this?
Oh yeah, this is deep, man.
I want you to read it one more time because we got to get this in people's brains.
Yeah, we gonna throw this right up there, man. When you go on YouTube, y'all have this. This is chapter 4. It's called The Woman, and it's section 23, 163. It says, "Surely we have revealed to thee as we revealed to Noah and to the prophets after him, and we revealed to Abraham and to Ishmael and to Isaac and to Jacob and the tribes, and Jesus and Joseph and Jonah and Aaron and Solomon, and we gave to David a scripture."
So it's even specifying, right?
Wow.
It's specifying. So you don't think that when it says "and the tribes" that he's talking about the Ishmaelite tribes? He names a bunch of Israelites.
Yeah.
Jonah
Wow.
and Solomon and Christ and all these people. These are all Israelites.
But you know what? And even after all this,
Right.
I'm gonna have to say it. It was plagiarized from the scriptures. So I'm looking at it, but I'm like, yeah, but it was plagiarized from the scriptures.
Right. We always got to remember.
Yeah. So it's like, but I'm trying to put myself in their so-called believers' mind. If they're so-called believing this, are they not seeing this?
Yeah, because see, I'm one of those. I believe in miracles.
Right.
We as Israelites, we believe in miracles. You take an illiterate man, he can write a 1,500-page book all of a sudden.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It's a little tough, but I believe it. Right.
Right.
Because the Most High does miracles.
Right.
But when the book tells you to follow the Israelites,
Wow.
and history tells you that he decided he was going to break away from the Israelites, and then when the book shows you that his name's barely in there, but then when you go to different translations, all of a sudden his name's in brackets here,
Right.
here, and here, and here. Well, now we have a problem.
Right.
All right, because Islam likes to do that. When we come to them, they say, "Oh, you're reading that white man's book." Okay, but you follow Fard Muhammad if you're in the West. He's a white man. He taught Elijah Muhammad. If you go back, if you're going in the Eastern one, you're following the slave dealers' religion.
Right.
Okay. What's the other problem? The translations. Well, the Bible's been translated and done this way, done this way. Well, I have 2 different translations just sitting right here. And then when I go into the app, there's like 10 different translations.
Wow.
And only a few of them mention Muhammad as many times as it does.
Right.
You see that? So now I have to have that problem because in every translation of the Bible, Christ is mentioned the same number of times. He's mentioned as Jesus Christ.
So you're trying to tell me they mentioned the Christ in here more than their
Yes,
Muhammad?
that's the sad part. Yes,
Wow.
which made Muhammad.
I just picked that up as you like. So they mentioned him more than.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They mentioned our prophets more than theirs.
There you go.
More reverence.
He's I forgot. I think he's mentioned at least 64 times in the Quran.
Wow.
Jesus Christ, and Muhammad gets once.
Wow.
All right. And what's great is the same app that I looked it up on. All the times where it says Christ, it's never in brackets. It's originally in there.
Right.
All the times it mentions Muhammad, it's in brackets.
Right. So listen, before it cuts off, we're going to go a little further for YouTube. Whoever's watching live here in Houston, we thank y'all for tuning in, and please come to class. Catch us in class. We have classes Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. isbhpk.com. Say shalom to them.
Shalom.
All right, and then do we got any more?
Actually,
That was it? All right, well, then that's it. Well, with that, we out.
There we go.